Okay, welcoming in everyone to our live stream this evening on YouTube and on Facebook. Hey everyone, it's about 6:31, and let's get started here this evening. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Columbiana County, running another half an hour until 7 p.m. this evening. Been keeping a close eye on this band of thunderstorms as it's moved through northern Ohio. First it was up around Sandusky, then it rolled through some of the southern suburbs of Cleveland, then it walloped Akron and Canton, and now it's impacting the Dover, New Philly area, parts of Carroll County, and parts of western Columbiana County as well. Now the warning is for roughly the central and eastern two-thirds of Columbiana County. Notice the locations that are not in the warning: East Liverpool, East Palestine, Salem, Columbiana. But you are in the warning in Lisbon and in Hanoverton, and then heading over towards the Stark County line as well. So let's zoom in and show you again some of the locations in the warning: Summitville, Hanoverton, Lisbon, Elk Run. You're right on the border of it, and then everyone in western Columbiana County is under this warning until 7 p.m. for Columbiana County. This line of storms has had a history of producing damaging wind gusts and some decent-sized hail as well. The wind has been especially problematic, dating back a few hours. And in Stark County, down into Susquehanna County, we've had some wind issues. Trees down, power lines down, power outages have been an issue. So the number one threat with this is the wind, although some small hailstones will be a possibility. Let's talk a little bit about the wind here this evening. In addition to all the lightning and the rain, we want to keep an eye on the possibility of some strong winds. Not seeing real strong signatures right now in western Columbiana County. I don't see any bright greens or bluish hues, so a lot of this wind is probably just below severe limits. That is a good thing. As far as the hail goes, this looks a little less impressive on the last few radar scans than it did a while ago. There might be some small pea-size hail around New Franklin, Alliance, and then heading down into Carroll County and maybe just west of Hanoverton. But to me right now, that does not look like real severe hail. I'm going to look at my other source here and kind of verify that. Yeah, severe hail doesn't seem real likely right now in Columbiana County. There might be some decent-sized hail down into Carroll County, but in Columbiana County, it's probably pea-size at worst with this right now. So severe thunderstorm warning, but it's probably a borderline situation for a lot of the warned area in Columbiana County. The worst of the weather is likely missing us to the south and west, and certainly impacting Uhrichsville, Denison, up towards New Philly, over towards Sherrodsville, the Atwood Lake area, Delroy, heading over towards Carrollton as well. Areas that just got slammed with big storms just a couple of days ago, getting slammed once again. It was at the end of last week into the weekend that same area got clobbered with some nearly stationary thunderstorms. They had a lot of flooding problems down there. We're getting a big-time thunderstorm right now in New Franklin, pretty close to the Stark Columbiana County line along 172. Again, pea-size hail is going to be a possibility. This is bearing down on Hanoverton as well. No doubt some threatening skies in parts of Columbiana County. We had one isolated storm earlier near Salineville that prompted a separate warning polygon to be issued. That's this guy right here. That polygon just barely grazes extreme southern Columbiana County. It's much more of a problem for areas down closer to New Cumberland, Toronto, Island Creek, etc., down into the West Virginia Panhandle, eventually the Weirton area, maybe Steubenville. We'll get in on that particular storm. But that's pretty much out of our TV viewing area at this point. Of bigger concern for us in the near term is going to be western Columbiana County, really from Summitville and Hanoverton on west. If you're watching me from the Lisbon area, things are quiet right now. You're going to get grazed by this. Severe weather at this point doesn't seem all that likely, but a pretty good summertime thunderstorm. And then if you're watching from Mahoning County up into Trumbull-Mercer, the sun is out, and quiet weather for the time being. Now, the threat will not end early this evening. We have more thunderstorms here and there across northwest Ohio. Some of these have been a little bit feisty, and some random, kind of loosely organized thunderstorms will be a possibility throughout the evening into parts of the overnight as well. There's even some thunderstorms up into Michigan, heading over towards the northern end of Lake Erie, and those could impact parts of northern Ohio later on this evening as well. So, it could be kind of a bumpy night at times. The severe weather threat probably is peaking right now with all the heat and humidity we had today. It was, as promised, a much more humid day today, with dew points in the upper 60s, lower 70s. Our dew point right now is sitting at 64 degrees, but it's been higher than that today. So it's definitely a a muggy day today, a more moisture-laden air mass for sure out there today. All right, so again, this warning, this severe thunderstorm warning, runs until 7 o'clock for the western half, roughly, of Columbiana County. That's why we're doing a Facebook Live for you this evening, right after the 6 o'clock newscast. We do have one other cell up into Portage County. That's this guy right here, not far from Ravenna, that is non-severe. And I'm going to do a quick look at this on my other source real quickly so I don't have to move the radar on you. You know, this may be producing some small hail right around Ravenna right now. Probably a brief gust of wind as well, but at this point it doesn't look real severe. Let's look at the Cleveland velocity data. Nothing real impressive there. Same thing with the hail data. That's more of just a routine thunderstorm, but it bears watching. There, again, a little small hail over Ravenna right now. That's a possibility, and this is tracking to the south and east, so might impact Craig Beach, the Lake Milton area, maybe just grazing Newton Falls here before too much longer. So that's kind of a separate cell away from the main cluster, which is down here into southeastern Stark County, Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, into the western part of Columbiana County as well. This is quite a lightning show. I'm going to just plot up the lightning data for you over the last couple of hours and zoom out. Boy, summertime fireworks here a couple of days early before the 4th of July. Look at all that lightning with this. Very charged atmosphere. Lightning is a result of friction in the atmosphere, things bumping into each other. Hailstones and big raindrops and things like that. So that's when we get the most lightning. All right, new warning was just issued. Just got done talking about that Ravenna cell, and the Weather Service is hoisting a warning for it. So a new warning now out for parts of Mahoning and southwestern Trumbull County because of that separate cell I was just talking about. So this clips Newton Falls and Craig Beach, Lake Milton area, comes down to about Warren to Lordstown and is just west of Ellsworth. The rest of Mahoning County not in the warning, the rest of Trumbull County not in the warning. So southwest Trumbull and northwest Mahoning now in a new warning because of that cell near Ravenna. Let me take a closer look at that. I kind of breezed past that a moment ago. Maybe I should be taking a closer look at that cell. I think hail is probably the reason for the warning here. I think this is probably it's starting to ramp up its intensity a little bit and starting to produce some decent sized hail right around Ravenna. And actually, because our hail algorithm tends to be a few minutes behind, let's actually do a quick Doppler slice on this and show you. Yeah, there's a little hail in there, for sure. Yeah, right over Ravenna. What we're doing here is looking at a kind of a vertical scan of the storm and see kind of these white areas and purple areas that are aloft, 10,000 feet, maybe 20,000 feet in the air. That's some hail being thrown up in the updrafts. Once hail gets too heavy for the updraft to support, gravity wins and it comes down to the ground. And yeah, I think this warning is primarily going to be for hail. Don't see a lot of real impressive wind with this, but a downpour, sure, and maybe some small hail. So yeah, that's our new warning now. That warning runs until 7:15 for northwestern Mahoning, southwestern parts of Trumbull County. The bigger warning, the first warning that was issued is for Columbiana County in our TV viewing area and extends until 7 o'clock. This includes Lisbon, it includes Hanoverton, and everywhere in the vicinity, and then comes down into the southern tier of Columbiana County down to Salineville. And from Salineville across Route 39 towards Carrollton, the Atwood Lake area, Delroy, Sherrodsville, and then all the way over towards New Philly. We're getting some downpours here, frequent lightning, and possibly some hail as well. Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on my National Weather Service chat here. Been a lot of reports of trees down, power outages, problems with this cluster of storms as it rolled through northern Ohio earlier. Look at all those storm reports, all those kind of tree icons there. That's wind damage. That's our wind damage icon. So been a lot of this from northwest Ohio down into north central Ohio as well, crossing I-71 and heading over into Stark County over the last couple of hours. All right, so where are these storms going? These are moving to the southeast generally at between 25 and 35 miles per hour. Let me strip off the warning information here. So let's do a storm track for our Columbiana County storm. You know, I'm going to move my camera so this is a little easier to do. Something like that. You know, this is just kind of grazing the southern tier of Columbiana County. So Salineville coming up in about 10 minutes to this next round of storms. Closer to Wellsville, 7:14. Calcutta, Glenmore, probably about 7:10. About a half an hour from right now. East Liverpool closer to 7:20 to 7:25. North of Lisbon, you know, we're getting grazed, but the worst of it is probably to your south. The northern kind of flank of this, it's strong, and it's just south of Sebring right now, and this is going to graze past Salem. And again, Lisbon, you're going to get grazed by the northern fringe of this, but because this is moving in kind of a southeasterly direction, yeah, we're just getting grazed, I think, in places from, Lisbon on north towards the Mahoning County line. The heart of this is more aimed towards Hanoverton, to Summitville, Salineville, and areas south of Route 30, south of Lisbon, and eventually down into the East Liverpool, Yellow Creek area, Wellsville, here in the next half an hour to 45 minutes or so. Yeah, I'm not real impressed with this warning they issued for Mahoning Trumbull. There might be enough hail to justify a warning in that, but that's pretty borderline to me. It might cycle back up, but the cell I'm referring to is this guy right here that's moving through Portage County right now. They issued a warning for this. There's the polygon, including southwestern Trumbull, northwestern Mahoning. This is pretty borderline to me. There's some hail just east of Ravenna right now. It's probably borderline severe hail. It's probably mostly non-severe hail, more the kind of the pea-sized to maybe penny-sized hail. Kind of conversational hail, kind of you look outside, it's hailing, but it's not the kind of hail that's going to cause problems, cause damage at this point. We'll see what the next few radar scans look like. But this looks like a mostly non-severe storm to me. I'm not real impressed with the wind either. So that's our northern cell. That warning was issued a handful of minutes ago and runs until 7:15. It includes the Newton Falls area, Craig Beach, Lake Milton zone. But I think that's a pretty borderline situation. This is still a really healthy-looking thunderstorm down into Columbiana County, though, with a doozy of a lightning show, Hanoverton area. This is impacting, of course, 30, down towards 172, and getting down into the 644 area from Hanoverton down to Summitville as well, and then heading down into Carroll County on 9. All areas that are getting a very nice summertime thunderstorm with a hefty downpour, a gust of wind, and maybe some small hail embedded in this as well. Again, tracking off to the south and east at about between 25 and 35 miles per hour. This means down towards East Liverpool, you probably wait until about 7:20 to 7:30 for this to impact you. Certainly sooner than that in Lisbon. Again, I did a storm track a moment ago, but just in case you missed it, let's do another one real quick. Give you some clock times here. So, something like that. Just rough clock times here. You know, again, closer to 7:20 East Liverpool, Lisbon closer to 7 to 7:05. Glenmore, Calcutta, 7:15-ish. All times that I kind of gave you a few minutes ago if you were watching a few moments ago. All right, so we have two warnings out for our TV viewing area. One is in Columbiana, the other for the northwestern part of Mahoning, southwestern Trumbull. And over the next handful of hours, we'll just have to keep an eye to the sky because very unstable atmosphere. And even though it won't be as unstable, of course, once we get into the evening and into the overnight and kind of lose the heating of the day, with this type of juicy atmosphere, any storm could mean some business. So, just keeping an eye on my National Weather Service chat down in Tuscarawas County, a tree fell on a house in Dover. 911 dispatchers down there reporting that. So that was down in Tuscarawas County. This line of storms has a history of producing quite a bit of wind damage, that is for sure. Keeping an eye on the hail possibilities. Not seeing a lot of likely severe hail out of this. Some small hail, conversational hail is going to be possible as we speak around Hanoverton. That's probably about it in Columbiana County. And again, a little bit of hail still left over with our Portage County storm. Mostly conversational, might be trying to get up to penny size at most quarter size right now, south and east of Ravenna. And that's the reason for the warning with this particular storm, not necessarily a wind threat, but more of a hail threat, I think. Just looking at my other source here. Yeah, south of Ravenna, southeast of Ravenna, there's probably still some decent hail between Ravenna and Deerfield. But it's borderline. And again, the wind to me is not super impressive up there, even though there's certainly a gust of wind. Whether it's severe wind, damaging wind or not, it's pretty borderline, I think, with our northern kind of lone wolf cell up here on the northern fringes of this cluster. Down in Columbiana County, though, that's where we've been paying closest attention to in our TV viewing area. And not a lot of fresh lightning. Notice a lot of our lightning bolts here are kind of grayed out a little bit, and that means they're older strikes. Not seeing an uptick in fresh lightning right now in Columbiana County, which indicates to me that this storm might be kind of in a down cycle right now. Healthy looking thunderstorm, no doubt, but not seeing a lot of signs that this is perking up or strengthening. If anything, it's kind of holding its own or even weakening just a little bit as we speak. Keeping an eye on my Twitter real quickly here, just making sure I'm not missing anything on Twitter. Colleen says, getting dark outside, Kirk Road, I assume. And getting some questions here. Hey, is this going to die down? You know, I just mentioned a moment ago that, I'm not seeing, at least not a strengthening trend with our Columbiana County storm. It's holding its own or even weakening a little bit. Still producing a decent amount of lightning and certainly some heavy rain. And maybe some small hail around Hanoverton, but this may not be a severe thunderstorm per se anymore. This is another storm up here that's kind of borderline. We're under a warning until 7:15, Newton Falls to Lordstown, heading down towards Craig Beach, just west of Ellsworth and west of Austintown, with hail possibility with this storm south and east of Ravenna right now. And a gust of wind with this as well. Let's look at that Cleveland velocity data one more time. Yeah, a little wind gust, maybe even a strong wind gust now south and east of Ravenna, close to Charlestown, along 5, and certainly 14 being impacted south and east of Ravenna, I should say. So that's our northern storm. Let me switch sources here over to the Pittsburgh radar for our wind data, since we're closer to the Pittsburgh radar down in Columbiana County. Gust of wind with this, Summitville, Salineville, Hanoverton. Strong, yes. Severe, borderline. And again, right now the hail is not real impressive looking. Maybe some little pea-sized hail perhaps with this. So I think what we're going to see more than likely is this warning in Columbiana County will be allowed to expire in 10 minutes at 7 o'clock. A new one will probably not be issued unless things really perk up in the next 10 minutes. Doubt a new warning will be issued for this storm past 7 o'clock. This warning until 7:15 for northwestern Mahoning, southwest Trumbull. Don't want to make any promises on this one yet as far as a new warning as this continues pushing south and east. There's just enough hail with this, I think, that we might see a fresh warning issued for other parts of Mahoning County especially. As we head past 7:15, that remains to be kind of seen at this point. Again, if you're watching from northern Trumbull, all of Mercer, Lawrence County, you're going to miss a lot of this. And as we go through the night tonight, you'll have your chance of seeing a spotty shower and thunderstorm, especially late this evening into the overnight hours. So if you're watching from Sharon to Mercer, Sandy Lake, down to Newcastle, New Wilmington, this is mostly a miss for you. But in a handful of hours, you might hear some pitter-patter of raindrops and hear some thunder, as a lot of us are heading off to bed later on tonight. And boy, places that missed today's action, don't worry, you'll have plenty of chances tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well, with spotty thunderstorms back in our forecast for tomorrow right through the long holiday weekend. All right, so while we're kind of in a holding pattern here, let's take a live look outside. We have one of our cameras this evening active in Boardman. And I'm going to move this camera so we can see the sky. All right, certainly seeing the sky darkening on the western horizon there. We're looking west on this camera. This is 224 Market Street in Boardman, looking west towards Canfield. Certainly a little more ominous than it was a little while ago. Our other active camera right now is in Columbiana. And there's been some cumulonimbus clouds, certainly with this, that we've been keeping an eye on. In Columbiana proper, though, right along the traffic circle there, we are missing. We are missing out on the most of the action. Let me got some blinking there in the background. Let's remove that camera source, so hopefully we won't see that flashing behind me anymore. Okay. All right, so we fixed that problem. All right, so we have a borderline severe thunderstorm now moving in through Columbiana. Not real concerned about any sort of damage or big problems with this at this juncture. We're going to start paying a little more attention to our storm, which is just about to enter our television viewing area. Has a warning on it until 7:15. So if you're watching from Newton Falls and then heading down into the Craig Beach area, hopefully everyone is getting off the lake at this point. In northwestern Mahoning County and right along the Mahoning-Portage County border. Now's a good time to get off the lake with this bearing down on us. Yeah, a little hail right now. Our hail algorithm's a few minutes behind. There's been some hail around Ravenna. This is more like over, kind of like this at this point. It's probably not severe, but conversational hail with this. And yeah, we can certainly see a gust of wind as this enters southwestern parts of Trumbull, northwestern Mahoning here in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. I don't see real vivid signatures, wind signatures here. There's some dull reds. You know, this is a gust of wind, probably not severe though, about to enter northwestern Mahoning, southwestern Trumbull County. All right, so, I've gotten 80 comments on this video on Facebook already, so I can't breeze through all those comments, but let's try to cover some of the what about my town, what about this town, what about that town questions. So I'm going to name as many towns as I can here and tell you what to expect. Again, real quick, let's do the easy ones. Anyone in Mercer County, you're missing out on this cluster. Northern Trumbull, you're missing out. So anywhere north of Warren, north of Sharon, it's a miss for you. If you're watching from southwestern Trumbull, Lordstown, and Newton Falls, we're going to get a pretty good summertime thunderstorm here with a gust of wind, perhaps some small hail, and some lightning, yes, for sure. And then down into the other warned area in Mahoning County, primarily west of Ellsworth along 224, out towards Berlin, and up towards the Craig Beach area, Lake Milton. You're under a warning, again, borderline warning situation there. For the rest of Mahoning County, Canfield, Boardman, Austintown, Youngstown, Coatesville, down towards New Middletown, over towards the Poland area, and Struthers, etc. We'll keep an eye on this storm well to our north and west. Right now, I'm not real concerned about severe weather with this, even though it's warned. But we might get a decent thunderstorm here in the next hour or so. Down into Columbiana County, we're missing the severe weather threat for the time being. In Salem and Columbiana, we are done with any severe weather threat with this cluster in Hanoverton and anywhere west towards the Stark County line. Summitville, we're getting slammed pretty good right now. Same thing in Salineville. And then if you're watching downstream here in East Liverpool, Calcutta, Glenmore, and then heading over towards the PA border, This will bear watching. A pretty strong thunderstorm to your north and west, moving towards the south and east at about between 25 and 35 miles per hour. That being said, not real concerned about severe weather as much as I was about 20 minutes ago with this. This is showing signs of some weakening as it's heading into a little bit of a rain-cooled environment. We had that one cell down here a little while ago in the 6 o'clock hour that probably put down a cooler layer of air, a little outflow across southern Columbiana, so we're starting to see maybe some effects of that, seeing some weakening with this cluster. East Palestine, Unity, Rogers, you are probably going to miss the meat of this. You may get grazed a little bit by the northern fringes, but not real concerned about severe weather at all up there. So hopefully I answered some of the what about my town questions there in our TV viewing area. If you're asking questions about areas that are pretty far away from our TV viewing area, I can't spend the whole video naming every town in Ohio and western PA. That's just not possible. Here's the radar loop. Over the last, let's see, this is a 45-minute radar loop. And as you can see, everything is pushing to the south and the east. All right, so that's the Pittsburgh Weather Service office issuing a new warning for southeast Carroll, Harrison, Jefferson, Belmont, down towards Steubenville, Weirton, Cadiz. But that is out of our area. All right, so I'm going to stick with the stream for another few minutes here. Our warning is set to expire in a few minutes in Columbiana County. I don't think we'll see a new warning in Columbiana County due to the weakening trend. Our other active warning up here until 7:15 for southwest Trumbull, northwest Mahoning, Newton Falls. Here comes your thunderstorm in the next handful of minutes. Gust of wind, maybe some small hail. Braceville, Windham to Newton Falls, there can probably be some small hail with this. Gust of wind, some heavy rain. It's moving at a decent clip though, so it's not going to hang around forever. That is some good news. As you can see, there's not a lot of fresh lightning with this. We had a lot of fresh lightning. You can see a lot of those plus signs and lightning bolt signs be bright and white. When you see them kind of grayed out like that, they tend to be older strikes. A storm that doesn't have a lot of fresh lightning is a storm that is either maintaining its strength or more than likely even weakening some. So starting to see kind of a weakening trend as well with that one. We're heading into the time of day, of course, we're away from peak heating now, and so it's easier for storms to lose their strength a little bit as we transition into the evening hours and a little bit closer to sunset. Of course, sunset's not for another 2 hours, but we're certainly past the peak heating of the day where the sun's highest in the sky and it's just broiling that lower atmosphere and making the lower atmosphere very, very unstable. We can certainly see some strong storms in the evening and even into the overnight hours. We see that many times during the year, but the number of those is certainly lower than the number of big storms that occur right in the meat of the afternoon or into the late afternoon hours. So I'm going to, I think, discontinue the stream here momentarily. I'll, of course, pop back on Facebook Live if needed this evening if we get some additional warnings across our area. Again, I think the severe weather threat with this particular cluster is starting to diminish fairly quickly, even in areas that have a warning. But again, I'll pop back on if needed. Look for more updates from me on social media and a recap of today's weather and a preview of your holiday weekend forecast once again coming up tonight on 21 News at 11 and on Weather for Weather Geeks.